Not only are we dieting, we gotta do cardio, but also we gotta take pictures maybe, and we gotta make all these measurable variables and stuff, and now we gotta count calories. So much to do. What is up? It's your boy Johnny Shreve, BB Promos, tell like it is. Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna talk about, guys, why it's important that you actually count calories. I'm gonna talk about what calories actually are, why it's important to count calories, and why you're probably not gonna have to count calories for the rest of your life. So let's jump into it. Now, I get it. Calories, count your calories is just another task for you to do. I can see why most people don't want to track calories. It's another thing to do, but I get it. I totally understand not wanting to count calories. So if you see someone with a big, influence, or maybe a doctor in front of the name or whatever saying, hey, you don't gotta track calories, you're like, yes, I'm not gonna track calories, but there's a reason why we need to track calories. Now, to just understand the calories is very simple for any of my new viewers, subscribers, and even my previous who are maybe just want a little bit of a review on calories, right? So calories is like a measurement of energy, heat, whatever, right? So me talking with my hands, I'm moving around. I'm using energy to do this. My body is creating energy, right? For me to move, when you look at energy, we have to, we also have to dive into the law of thermodynamics. So basically, law of thermodynamics, you cannot create or destroy energy. It can only really transfer or transform, right? So super easy. I pick an apple. It takes me energy to pick up the apple. I take the apple and I put it in my mouth and I start chewing the apple, which takes energy for me to chew the apple. That apple's being broke down into smaller pieces of chunks of apple, and then the juices and the tastiness from that apple, gets swallowed and it goes into my stomach, and then stomach starts divvying out some of the nutrients in there, and then it goes to my small intestines, and it takes energy from my intestines or to the whole process of digestion. It takes energy for that, and then that apple that used to be like this is now like a bunch of whatever things in there, and all the nutrients are being taken out and being used, and it goes to my large intestines, whatever. I missed a couple steps, whatever. Then it goes in there, and you're like, blah, 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 and then boop, you poop it out. So that piece of energy, apple, turned from an apple to poop. And in the process of that, it took out a bunch of energies, nutrients, macronutrients and whatnot, and used it for my body to use that energy. So basically, calories in, calories out, right? And the calories out meaning not the poop, but more so the calories out being the movement. So when we're looking at losing weight, we have to do more exercise or eat less than what's coming in. Or, you have to eat less and do more, right? If I want to gain weight or gain muscle, I will have to eat more to do so. But the thing is, if we don't know how much we're eating, how do we know if we're in a deficit or in a surplus? And that's where we need to understand counting calories. Now, I'm here to tell you, you will not have to count calories for the rest of your life. I'm telling you that right now. Hey, yeah, thank you, Johnny. Oh, thank you. I'm helping you out. I'm telling you right now that you will not have to count calories for the rest of your life. Think of you starting off counting calories now as you practicing and getting to learn and understand and see portion sizes. So let me give you an understanding of why you want to count calories. I haven't counted calories up until 4 weeks ago when I started prep for the Master Olympia. And here's why. As soon as I finished my last show and I was like, I'm done doing steroids and blah, blah, blah. I'm just gonna, just train. I was training like 4 times a week. Being more like functional, I wasn't doing much cardio, but like doing more functional stuff outside. I was, I'm riding super bikes, I'm doing, archery, I'm doing, flag football, I'm snowboarding, I'm doing a bunch of functional stuff. And I noticed that, after my prep, my weight's basically been like, 227 to 230 for over a year and a half. So I know that the exercise I'm doing, the activity that I'm doing, and the weight I am is being sustained or maintained by the amount of food I'm eating. So the amount of food that I'm eating basically keep me at a maintenance weight of 230-ish pounds, right? So I get the invite for the Master Olympia. Woo, yay, sweet. It's like, oh, but I know that there's a destination where I have to go in terms of body fat. I have to be 212 pounds. I have to be that or under by time I'm on stage. So I know that I need to get down there. So up until then, again, guys, I wasn't counting any calories. I knew that the amount of food that I was eating, and that's all types of food. That's the junk that I was eating. And I say junk meaning like, yeah, I had some like ice cream, some Oreos. This is my thing, you know what I'm saying? I had that, and in my Whole Foods, a mixture of I was eating very balanced. And my weight was staying the same. So I knew that that's where I was at, but I did not know exactly how many calories I was actually eating. All I knew was that the food I was eating was sustaining the weight that I am. So much like I preach, guys, what I did was like, I gotta find out how much I'm actually eating. So without delay, I started tracking my calories. I didn't change the sources of food I was eating. I kept it I kept it exactly the same. I didn't want to cheat myself into thinking like, I'm gonna eat less food now that I'm dieting. I need to have an accurate idea or an estimate of how much I was actually eating so I know where to go in terms of the caloric deficit that I'm gonna put myself in. So basically, I tracked my calories for 3-ish to 5-ish days. I found out that I'm eating like 3,200 calories. 3,200 calories was sustaining my weight by doing 4, training sessions a week and and loosely functional activities. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm eating 3,200 calories. That's what my maintenance is. Now I know that I need to increase my cardio, my volume in training, and decrease my calories. So knowing that I was eating 3,200 calories, I was like, I'm gonna eat 3,000 calories now. I'm gonna take my training from 4 days a week to 6 days a week using the RP Hypertrophy app. And I'm gonna do 30 minutes of cardio a day, right? So estimate in my mind, I know that around 30 minutes of cardio a day, around 150 watts is around 200-ish to 250-ish calories burned, around that. And now that I know that I'm eating 3,200 calories, I know that if I'm eating now 200 less calories in total in terms of like training or say cardio and my nutrition, I'm in a 400 caloric deficit. And started that. In 4 weeks, I have lost 5 pounds. So that's why we need to understand how to count calories. Here's another analogy. Make it very simple for you guys. How many of you guys right now, I'm pretty sure everybody I'm gonna ask this question to who's watching, is gonna answer like, yeah, of course they do. How many people, when they go get gas, know exactly how much gas to put into the car? Like, you're either filling it up and you know exactly how much is in, or you're one of these guys like, you're getting there like, you mess up, you're like, I need to do a little bit, you're like, you're looking at it, you're like, all right, and then you're done and you're tipping the top of the damn hose because you want to get all the gas, because gas is expensive as hell, right? You do one of these things, wiggling it out. Yeah, I do it sometimes, so whatever. The point is, you know exactly how much gas you're putting in the car. Why? Because you don't want to be that poor sucker that drives somewhere and has got to like flag down some kind of roadside assistance because you ran out of gas. You know how embarrassing that is? Like if you hit like a tire, if you hit like a nail and you get a flat tire or some shit, or like your motor just goes for some reason, or something happens, that's one thing. But if you got to call like CAA or whatever roadside assistance, you got like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, ran out of gas. Like, you embarrass as hell, right? So a lot of people avoid that. You know how much gas you put in the car because you want to make sure you get to the destination that you plan on going. You know damn well that if you don't put enough gas and you decide to go somewhere, even if you don't put enough gas in, you know the next gas station. You already put it in the Google Maps. You're like, where's the next gas station at? Make sure I can get there and mess it up, right? So if we treat our car that way, why would it be any different from our body? Because when it comes to destinations, putting on muscle is a destination in terms of burning calories and fuel. Losing fat is a destination that requires fuel. So if the only thing that makes the difference between a car and a human is the car will just stop. You're gonna be on the roadside assistance waiting just like, oh, this sucks. But the body will continue to go no matter what. And if we're eating way too many calories, your body kind of regulates how much energy it's actually putting out, because it knows it can't just put out that much energy anymore, so it kind of slows things down. It slows down the metabolism, right? It makes it so you don't have that much of a pep in your step anymore. Your overall non-exercise activity thermogenesis, you're regularly just walking around to the car, or you're just moving, is a lot slower now. It down-regulates basically the amount of energy put out. So you're like at that point where it's calories in, calories out. I'm not, I'm eating less food, I think, and I'm doing a lot of cardio, but I'm not going anywhere. And you're like, well, because you're not giving your body enough fuel. And a lot of times that happens, that people start a diet, they hack everything out. They may not be even counting the calories really. They're just like, hey man, I think I'm just gonna eat this many calories. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna eat 1,500 calories, not really knowing how many calories they should be in the first place, right? The only kind of counting they do is that like, yeah, this app told me I should be eating this many calories, and they did it, right? And they get all the way down, their body doesn't go anywhere, then they're pissed off that, they're doing maybe a lot of cardio and eating hardly any food and not losing any more weight, and they're getting weaker. So guys, the point is, when you're tracking calories, understand it gives you a clear understanding of a picture of how much food you're actually eating. it gives you an understanding of how much weight you actually have to lose or to gain. You know, right? It helps identify, some nutritional gaps in like overconsumption, right? Underconsumption, overconsumption. And then the biggest one, it encourages mindful and healthy eating habits. Understanding portion control is one of the biggest issues we have when it comes to people dieting, putting on muscle, or losing fat, is portion control. They're like eating whatever. It's like, I know right now exactly how much around a cup of rice looks. I know what a cup of rice looks like. And there's a couple things you do in terms of like balanced plate eating, or like using different types of like practices you could do. Like basically eat food the size of your hand, right? The palm of your hand, that's how much you want to eat, right? So maybe your meat is this big, and then your protein, or like say you're really hungry, then your protein is going to be the size of your hand, right? Your grains are going to be like the palm, right? Because we want to eat palm size stuff, right? If you look at your palm, it's probably almost a cup maybe, right? But it's like the same amount for you, right? It's the same, the size of your palm, the size of your hand will be enough food for you in terms of portions and like size, obviously, right? And then like your oils are like size of like your thumb, and then like if you want to eat some some greens and stuff, you want to eat like your entire we would take a big pile, like a hand, just a chunk of stuff out, greens or whatever, broccoli or spinach, or I don't know. I don't know anybody like, yeah, broccoli. You know what I'm saying though, right? There's a couple of little tools you can use in terms of like portion control, but that's the biggest issue, is understanding how much you should actually be eating. So just to give you guys an understanding of how you can track calories, pretty simple, and I've said this video in a couple of videos before. Get a calorie app that you can actually trust, right? Now, again, these are estimates. These are things that, you have to make sure that if you're tracking foods, it's a verified item, but basically going to track calories over 3 to 5-ish days, just to give you a better understanding of how much food you've been eating. Once you get that number, and you see that over the days you take the average of what it is, check out the highs and lows, and you find you're eating 2,000 calories, let's say, right? And the 2,000 calories is sustaining 170 pounds. And it's sustaining the amount of exercise you're doing, cardio doing, whatever else. Then you know that you have 2,000 calories that's maintaining your weight. And then you basically subtract maybe 200 calories to start. Maybe you start dicing off the calories that be in the deficit by just doing more cardio, right? You have an understanding of now how much food you're eating and how much and what that food's been doing. And that food you've been eating has probably been sustaining the weight that you are. And then you actually know where to go. Whether you want to lose weight or put on muscle, you know that that's how much calories you're eating, and this is where you need to go, either north or south. Now, we definitely have to talk about some potential challenges when it comes to tracking calories, right? Underestimating how many calories you're actually eating, right? Portion size, forgetting to track certain things, right? We want to be like as consistent as we possibly can, right out of the gate. You have some solutions in terms of, so you don't so you don't mix up, portion size and whatnot. Like you're not underestimating or over or underestimating anything. So you have like a scale, you got a scale, you got measuring cups, whatever it is. You have some type of tool that's there that when you scoop out say you scoop out some rice and you put on your bowl that's on top of a scale, that you could see that scoop weighs this much, and it's, fairly accurate, or it's, fairly consistent, right? Having those tools. So biggest thing, obviously, is make sure you have some tools. Now, when it comes to just balancing, the overall quality, now when it comes to like calories, now we have to play the game in terms of how do we make the calories make the most amount of sense, right? You want to get some very good low calorie, high dense foods, right? You're talking like some very nutrient dense foods, when it comes to, your greens, your fruits and your vegetables, good fibers and whatnot will keep you more satiated. Picking some good meats that are, that are high in protein, maybe some good fats, your salmons, and, there's nothing wrong with having like, a extra lean steak, or, extra lean ground beef, or even having, regular ass ground beef and just making sure you rinse it off, right? So you just want to make sure that within your caloric intake, you're picking foods that are going to be high nutrient dense foods, right? And then, here and there, you can understand, again, here's the beauty of actually tracking calories. If you want to have that, off meal, you know what you can spend in terms of calories. So when you're picking your foods, throughout the week, or your go-to meals, you want to make sure those go-to meals are very nutrient-dense foods. Don't get those empty calories, because empty calories will cost a lot more. If you look at, a chocolate bar, this is easy. This is, say, a chocolate bar, right? Let's take a a O. Henry or a regular size Snicker is like 220-ish calories. A cup of rice is 200-ish calories. Look how much the difference in the two. It's a lot, right? So empty calories are gonna be way larger in size, gonna cost a lot more in calories. And your nutrient dense foods are gonna be a lot bigger, but less in calories. Certain things. Just be cautious of those things. And we'll definitely talk more on the channel about like what foods are more quality and what foods are less quality. But again, guys, that's why it's important that we track calories. You can't diet blindly. Counting calories is just developing a skill so you understand portion control. So you understand how much fuel you need to put in for the next destination, whether that's losing weight, whether that's losing fat, or putting on muscle. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. You know I'm gonna come out that tell like it is, transparent, vulnerable truth. And for coaching, johnachieve.com, guys. And guys, got my PPL ebook, book yourself a phone consult. Let's just chat. And guess what? My members only will be having a live Q&A. So all my members, get your questions ready because we're gonna have a live Q&A. It'll be one big consult session as one big happy family. Anyway, guys, follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. Send me your progress pics, your video clips, and your training pics, and I repost it for you because you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.